My baby has suffered a brain injury. Is there any way for me to know when did this happen? Was it around the time of birth? How do I know? Want to know what I'm getting at here? Stay with me as I share with you this very important information. Hello, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm a childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorney practicing law here in the state of Maryland. And I would like to quickly talk with you today about that issue. And that issue deals with trying to time a brain injury in a Maryland birth injury case. So before I get to that question of is it possible to time the injury, I want to back up and give you some foundation, a very important foundation regarding an important tool that is used when we're talking about delivery and having a baby. And this important tool is the fetal heart monitor. I mean, most hospitals and delivery rooms now across the country are using this device. And what this does, what the fetal heart monitor does, is it helps doctors be able to determine whether your baby is tolerating a vaginal delivery well. That's essentially what it's doing. So doctors can look at this device and they can take a look to see how is the baby's heart doing. How is the baby reacting to the mother's contractions? All of these very important things that happen when you are giving birth. So now we're going to go back to that question of timing a birth injury or when the brain injury occurred. What your experts can do is they can take a look at the fetal heart strip. They can look at the strip because it's printing information. It's a strip, and it's showing how the baby's heart is doing. And what we can have in some instances is a term called reassuring, which is a strip that is showing that the baby is doing well. And then you can have a non-reassuring strip. And what your experts will take a look at is they will look to see, was the baby doing okay when everything got started? And in some cases, what we can see is the baby will be doing fine. The fetal strip will be in the normal range. They will be okay. But then there may come a time where the strip becomes non-reassuring. And this can happen for a whole host of reasons. For example, there may be tachycardia present. And when I say that, what I mean is that the baby's heart rate may be well over 160. It could be 165, 170, 180. It's really high. That's what we're talking about. Or you could have the baby having a very low heart rate. That should give signs of concern for the doctors and the nurses. Add to this, you can have a loss of variability on the strip. So what your expert can be looking at is, okay, the strip is going, everything looks fine, but at this particular point, everything now, it's starting to look non-reassuring. And from non-reassuring, this strip can then move from that to very, very bad. Now, another thing that I want you to understand when we're talking about giving birth is that birth is traumatic, and the baby a lot of times can bounce back from some things. But you've got to also think about your child like you would think, for example, of a runner. Your baby has just so much reserves. In other words, it can only take so much. So if you are a long distance runner, when you first get started, you may be doing okay, breathing okay, heartbeat is fine. But then as you continue to go, as you continue to run mile after mile after mile, all of a sudden your reserves begin to deplete. You begin to get tired. And eventually it gets to a point that if you haven't trained well enough or that you have reached as far as you can go, you can't go any further. You will crash. The same thing can happen with your child. Your baby's fetal reserves, after a while, if the baby isn't being helped along the way, then the baby can crash. And so the reason why I'm giving you this information with this video today is I'm trying to help you understand that in some instances, yes, your experts, the medical experts, can look to try to time when that injury occurred. You also have to understand that, of course, the defense, the other side, they are going to be disputing this information. So I share all of this with you to help you get an insight into this process, to help you understand what are some of the things that are going to take place if you're thinking about filing a birth injury case in the state of Maryland. If you have more questions about your child's injury, if you realize that it's time for you to talk with someone, this is what I invite you to do. And remember, taking this next action costs you absolutely nothing. And what is that action? To pick up the phone and give me a call. I can be reached at 301-850-4832, or if you prefer, you can send me an email to medicalinjury@bostonlawllc.com. I answer Maryland medical malpractice and childbirth injury questions just like yours all the time, and I'll be happy to take some time and listen to your story. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys here at Boston Law Group LLC, and we will see you next time. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.